So today we are going to discuss the fourth verse of Siksastakam, that is Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹ecie mama janmane janmaneshware bhaktat bhakti 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹cie. So in this fourth and the fifth verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is now praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in these two verses, fourth and the fifth verse I am going to discuss in the next class. In these two verses, Mahaprabhu is, in other words, teaching us what should be our mood while chanting the holy names, what should be our prayers while chanting the holy names. Now, if we have proper prayers, then we will have a proper mood. So what should be our prayer? There are two primary prayers, foundational prayers, let me speak like that. Because in devotional life, the heart of a devotee keeps on praying to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and there can be infinite number of prayers. There's a book written by Narottam Das Thakur, Prarthana, which where Narottam Das Thakur is offering many types of prayers, many to Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has also written many books, Gitavali, Sharanagati, where he is continuously praying to the Supreme Lord. I mean, devotion is all about prayers and glorification. That's what devotion is all about. But all prayers have two foundations. Two foundational prayers are there. In fact, Srila Prabhupada also told us these prayers. As Prabhupada said, when you chant Hare Krishna, pray that, please, O Hare, engage me in your service. O Krishna, engage me in your service. This is what Prabhupada taught us. And this teaching is directly coming from the fourth verse of Siksastakam. Now, in this fourth verse of Siksastakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying the same thing. Mama janmane janmaneshware bhaktat bhaktir 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹cie. Oh my Lord, Mama janmani janmaneshware, janma, let me take birth after birth. Ishware, oh my Lord. Mama janmane janmaneshware bhaktad means let it happen. Let it happen. Let this come to pass. Let this be true, that I might have birth after birth after birth after birth after birth. Let me be in this cycle of birth and death. But bhaktat 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹cie. But I want 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹cie. Mama janmane janmeshwari. What's afterwards? Mama na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹ecie. Mama janmane janmaneshware bhaktad bhaktir 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹cie. But let me have bhaktir 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹cie. Tvai means for you. 𝗙cie means causeless. Let me have a causeless devotion for you. Now, by this word 𝗙cie, Mahaprabhu says that actually I just want one thing. I want causeless devotion for you. By causeless devotion means I want a devotion where there is no expectation for any return or no expectation for any fruit. That kind of devotion I want. In other words, I just simply want to serve you. I even don't want liberation from cycle of birth, death, disease, old age. And that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is praying, let me have birth after birth. This is a very beautiful prayer, and that's what Prabhupada taught us. Oh Hare, engage me in your service. Oh Krishna, engage me in your service. Now here one question comes, which actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur raises in his book. And he says, well, if why Mahaprabhu is praying, let me have birth after birth? Let me take birth after birth. Why? Why doesn't he want to get released from cycle of birth, that is old age? Because why this question is raised? Because Upanishads and Vedas, they say that the aim of life is moksha. And even Srila Prabhupada said, back to Godhead. Magazine which he started in 1944, he named it as back to Godhead. So by the way, this title of the magazine, he got it from his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And this simply means back to Godhead, going back to Godhead, getting free of birth at this old age. Cycle of birth and death, become free of this. Prabhupada's whole entire teaching was based on this, escape the cycle of birth and death. And here, well, Mahaprabhu is praying, let me have birth after birth. What's happening? Is Prabhupada wrong? Has Prabhupada deviated from the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Now this is a big conflict there which has to be resolved. And the answer for this, Bhaktivinoda Thakur supplies the answer. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, well, Yagye Sankirtana Praye Rechantihi Sumedasa. Sumedasa. Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes Bhagavatam and it says, devotees are very intelligent. Not intelligent to make computers, rockets and... No, that's not the point. But they're very intelligent when it comes to spiritual life. And yeah, they want to go back to Godhead. They want to escape cycle of birth and death. Why we want to escape cycle of birth and death? Not because it is painful, not because there are so many sorrows and we want to escape sorrows and pains. Not just because of that. But because the cycle of birth and death is so fearful. We don't know what kind of birth we are going to take next life. And the pains and sorrows are so intense in this world that we will not be able to remember Krishna. It's a dangerous place. For doing devotion, Prabhupada said it's not a place for a gentleman. So, in that sense, this birth and death is pratikul for devotion. It is not actually anukul. That's the point there. If any point of time we find this material world is great for doing devotion, it's a nice place, actually we're in complete illusion. Padam vipadam, this is not at all a nice place. Now you see this, it's such a nice atmosphere, there are clouds, trees, rains, let's do devotion nicely. Well, that's not the whole point there. It's still a dangerous place. We have to remember that. And it's pratikul, it obstructs devotion. So that's why we want to go back to Krishna, and there we want to serve him continuously. So that's why we want to escape cycle of birth and death. But how to do that? Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur says devotees are very intelligent. They don't directly pray to Krishna, Krishna please, I want to escape from cycle of birth and death. No, they don't want to directly escape. Because they don't want to directly pray to Krishna for escape. Because if you pray to Krishna, please free me from birth and death, this will be like asking Krishna to do us a favor. And that a devotee doesn't want. He doesn't want to disturb Krishna. He doesn't want to disturb Krishna. For oneself, that's not a good idea. We are here to actually serve Krishna and remove his anxieties and not put anxieties on him. That's the whole point there. So what to do? Is there any way that without disturbing Krishna, we'll be able to get released from cycle of birth and death? And somehow Krishna can know that we want to come back to spiritual world, get free of this nonsense place, without asking him a favor. Is there any way? Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that's intelligence. And the intelligence says, devotee prays like Mahaprabhu, like, let me have birth after birth, and I just want to serve you. And Krishna, by hearing these prayers, he's so impressed by this devotee. He doesn't even want to get freed from birth and death. Why? He's not asking me to get freed from birth and death, even though he knows this is so birth and death is, this material world is such a big obstacle in devotion. Still he's not asking me because he doesn't want to disturb me. He doesn't want to ask me a favor. He always want to do a favor to me, for me. This is such a nice devotee. I am impressed. Bring him to me. Immediately he'll be so happy. Such kind of devotee will be the first person to get released from birth and death. So you see, devotees are so intelligent. By not praying, actually, they are pleasing Krishna to the extent that he will release you right at this moment. So that's the whole point. That's intelligence. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Same thing Madhvacharya, he says in one of his commentary. That verse is there. Jan mrityu jara vyadi dukkha jan mrityu jara vyadi manmaya mama pashrita. That is, I think, 7th chapter. I think second last verse. So the verse goes jara marana mokshaya mama ashrite tanti. So in the commentary to that verse, so that verse means Krishna says jara marana mokshaya, that for being freed from jara means old age, maran means death. For being freed from cycle of birth and death and old age, devotees, many people take Maya shelter. So Madhvacharya writes a comment on that, and he says, well, there are two ways to approach the Supreme Lord. One way is a general path, a path of Upanishads, where it is mentioned you aim for moksha and release from this material world and go back to spiritual world. But another path is a special path, Mukhe Riti. It's a special path. It's a Vishesh path, Vishesh Riti, where you don't take shelter of Lord for getting freed from birth and death, and you take shelter of Lord just because of pure love, and Krishna will automatically release you from birth and death. That's again Madhvacharya is speaking the same thing. So that's what Mahaprabhu says, na mama janmane janmaneshware bhaktad bhakti 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹cie, and then Mahaprabhu says, na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagadish kama. Oh my Lord, I mean to say, I'm not even asking for release from birth and death. What to say of asking for na dhanam, wealth, janam, followers, sundarim, for beauty, and for scholarship, for career, for money, for name and fame. I don't want any of these, because this is nothing, just more than a pile of trash for me. One place is your devotion, another place is this. How can I even equalize both of them? How can I put them on the same platform? One is devotion, another is money, name, fame, power, career. How can I put them equal on the same platform? No. It will be offense against devotion. So I don't want to ask anything. So this is the point there in this verse, and Mahaprabhu is saying in this verse the central message is the result of service is service. Keep focus on your service, keep vision on your service, and that's why while chanting the holy names, just ask for service of Lord. Please Hare Krishna, engage me in service. Please Radha, engage me in service. It's the best and a foundational prayer. If this prayer, if your bhajan stands on this prayer, this foundation, then it can go to any heights. And from this prayer, many other prayers will pour forth from your heart, and all those prayers will have just one base, one central desire, to serve Supreme Lord. And then those prayers, all those prayers will be pleasing to the ears of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.